Could everybody please stand as the family comes in? Yeah. Oh. Please be seated. Thank you, Gracie. Helen would be very proud. Gracie is one of Helen's granddaughters. So, welcome everybody. We are here today to celebrate the life of Helen McKay, a much loved and respected mother, grandmother, sister, friend and member of the Tuatapere community. I also want to acknowledge Val, Helen's husband today, and a friend of Helen's. We lost Val back in the first lockdown, where very few of us got to farewell of him because of the silly restrictions around gatherings at that time. So Val, this is also an acknowledgement to you, my friend, for the great man that you were and the many, many things that you were involved in over the years here in Tuatapere. From playing in the pipe band, playing for many a ceilidh and highling dance and competition, in the sweltering heat and the New Year's Day sports, to the many, many other venues that Helen, I'm sure, Army volunteered him to play for. From the famous first footing stories to the trips away and band competitions and trips that left some legendary stories behind. When what went on band camp stayed on band camp. The farming years, the years in the garage, his amphibious aeroplane, the Lake Oroka tours, to name but a few of the many things that Val was involved in. You are solemnly missed, Val, and have left a large hole in the fabric of our town, just as Helen. For those of you who don't know me, my name is John Munro, and I've been given the honour to take today's service. Those of us who have a cell phone, could I ask that you either put it on silent mode or turn it off for the duration of our time here today. At the conclusion of today's service, the family warmly invites you to join them for some light refreshments just over there. Also, there will be a time during this service that we will open the floor up for others who may want to say a few words. So I encourage those of you that intend to do so to be ready to come forward when that time comes. So early life, Bluff, Scotland and New Zealand. Helen lived a large part of her adult life here in Tuatapere and contributed greatly to the development and well-being of this community. Today, we gather to acknowledge and honour that contribution. Helen's early years were spent in Timaru with her family, her parents, Bert and Mary, her 2 brothers and 4 sisters. At this time, I would like to invite Helen's sisters, Raylene and Doreen, to share some memories and reflections on her early life. So Raylene and Doreen, please come.
Thank you. Is that working? My sister Doreen and I feel very privileged to offer this glimpse of our sister Helen, who was born on the 28th of November 1938, the 3rd child and first daughter, much loved daughter, of Bert and Mary Hughes. Helen always claimed that Mum would have been very content with just 3 children, but to the consternation of both mother and daughter, 4 more girls turned up. No matter, Helen was always the eldest sister. Yes, always the eldest sister. Up till Helen's mid-teens, our family lived in Timaru. Our father encouraged her to take up Highland dancing at an early age, and in this she excelled, as in so much else. She passed exams and garnered trophies by the tableful. We were always reminded of that. The early success was a harbinger of much of Helen's life. Whatever she did was done with precision and excellence, and to what a scale. As Dr. Elder remarked when confirming Helen's 5th pregnancy, that's Euless, in not many more years, he remarked, "You never do anything by halves, Mrs. McKay." Her brother Stuart was learning the pipes as well as Helen was learning dancing, and he proudly accompanied her at the competitions. So proud was he that he told her that when they grew up he wanted to marry her. But that privilege was to fall to quite another piper. Helen's character was always determined, and never more so one Christmas Eve, when Dad had reneged on a promise to turn up with a Christmas tree. Armed with one of Dad's axes, she and 2 other sisters went into the Caledonian Pipe Band's grounds, which weren't far from where we lived, and Helen proceeded to hack down a very shapely Christmas tree it was, and not only hack it down, pull it over the fence and drag it home. I don't know whether Dad was more proud or more concerned about the behaviour of his daughter. When Helen was 15, the family moved to Ocean Beach, and Helen completed her education at Southland Girls High School, where she studied shorthand typing. This gained her her first job at the Southland Hospital, Southland Harbour Board. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you. Harbour Board. Recognising her ability, her boss sent her to Wellington to learn how to use a state-of-the-art accounting machine. It was probably an early computer, but she was one of 2 or 3 women who were taught to use it. And it was so big that they had to build a special room down at Bluff on the harbour island there for her to use it. In the meantime, news of the snazzy wee dancer had travelled out to Tuatapere, where several families were keen to organise island dancing lessons for their children. Helen vividly remembered her first encounter. Having travelled out from Invercargill on the H&H bus, she was met by Geordie McKay in his best black shearing jersey, shearing singlet, and driven in a farm vehicle to the family home in Happy Valley, where no doubt she was warmly welcomed by Amy, Geordie's wife. Little did Helen know that the 3 attractive Mackay girls, Jackie, Mary and Judy, were soon to become not only her pupils, but her sisters-in-law, after the handsome, canny, patient Val quietly and determinedly wooed her. They made a formidable couple, and we loved them dearly. Their combined interests, skills and work ethic created a strong family group and have produced an admirable crop of grandchildren. Helen and Val knew tragic loss in the death of their firstborn Andrew. But God is good, and they also knew the blessings of many other family situations. At the same time as they're doing that, bringing up a wonderful family, Val and Helen enhanced the cultural and civic life of Western Southland, and their kindness and generosity was felt in many areas. As a family, we, the Hugheses, admired Helen immensely and marvelled at her energy. She cherished the young and the old, and kept those of us in the middle on our toes. We knew too that in times of trouble and sorrow, she and Val would always be there for us. We have been blessed. I couldn't say it. I couldn't say it.
Helen would be shaking her head about now.
She'd be shaking more than her head, she'd be shaking me.
Thank you, ladies. So Helen married the young Lochinvar Val, and early married life in Tuatapere was spent mostly on the Happy Valley farm, where she and Val raised their family. In quick succession, they welcomed 5 children, a busy and demanding time by any measure. Undeterred by the challenges of caring for 5 children under 5, Helen embraced the life on the farm, believing that they were living in a special place, that there was always room for one more, and they welcomed Peter into the family and moved to Tuatapere for a little more space than the house on the hill had to offer, later returning to the main farmhouse. After once walking all the way from the farm to Plunkett with Andrew, he was a big boy, he was in my class at school, Helen decided it was time to learn to drive. This is a decision that made managing her lively household a great deal easier. Alongside raising her young family, she continued teaching Highland dancing, organising Highland balls, and played an important role in establishing the local play centre. So right now I'd like to ask Peter, Catherine, Mirren and Lucy to come forward.
Don't worry, it's only 2 pages. I'm pretty sure Mum wouldn't have wanted us burbling on all day. For those who don't know me, I'm Peter. I'm the oldest, and I'm the mother-on. I am quite proud of that Mum and Dad had the love and affection that they would take me on after I lost my birth parents. I thank you all to be here today to remember our mum. I've been trying to think of the right words to describe her, and honestly, she probably would have corrected most of them that I come up with. She had this uncanny way of knowing what was best and what was right. And most of the time, she was right. And she had no problems telling us so. It is hard to put into words what she meant to us, because she was so much more than just a mother. She was our comfort, our strength, our humour, and our love. And above all, she was a rock to us all. What I'll remember most is the way she made people who came into our lives welcome, and how she made people feel. She always made them welcome, and they knew that they were cared for. No matter what was happening in her life, she always had time for the people around her, and particularly the people that she loved. I keep thinking of the small moments, the conversations, the laughter, the ordinary days that now mean everything. These are the memories that I'll carry with me forever. Our mum was loving, strong, generous, and endlessly caring. She looked after everybody around her. Everybody. And she had no problems feeding them all. Which brings to mind a little story. And I think most of the fault was mine. I didn't like porridge particularly much, so I didn't have porridge for breakfast one morning. So we all went off to school, and then we all came back. And dear Mum decided that we weren't going to waste the porridge. We were going to put it in the lunchtime soup. So we had porridge soup, and it was bloody horrible. And it was many years later she turned around to me and said, yes, it was, even I couldn't eat it. She never liked eels. Particularly those who remember Happy Valley, there was a creek down the bottom of the drive, and we used to go play and swim in. One day up in Happy Valley, she opened the fridge door, and here was this Brent, here was this eel, staring back at her, still alive, gasping for breath.
Not guilty.
Not guilty. She taught us kindness, resilience, and just how important family was. What I'll miss most about Mum is her voice, her advice, her little stories, and all those things that made her uniquely our mum. Although losing her is exceptionally and incredibly painful, I do know how lucky each and every one of us were to have her within our lives, and we'll always carry her with us. As you can see now, I'm sure I dressed appropriately, although I'm sure Mum's up there somewhere looking down, hoping like how we all dressed appropriately and we all are going to behave ourselves this weekend. We will try. Mum, we love you, and farewell, never forgotten.
I'm Catherine, for those who don't know, Helen's daughter. Thank you everyone for coming to help celebrate Mum's life. So, Helen, Mum, 5'2", eyes are blue, and oh, what those 5 feet could do. She was, in one of her very favourite Southland expressions, a tiny wee little one. Quite a ridiculous expression, tiny wee little. But she stood tall in every room she entered, head and shoulders above most of us. She stood tall in her convictions, her truth, and her courage to do the right thing. She was not influenced by others' opinions. Mum never confused popularity with principle. She walked the walk. She was a positive force for good, tremendously loyal to her family and her community. You know, whether you agreed with Mum or not, you always knew exactly where she stood. That is black, that is white, that is right, that is wrong. Very few shades of grey, zero ambiguity. And rather frustratingly, I'm going to repeat you here, Peter, 99 times out of 100 she was right. When COVID came along and the government announced that there was to be, sorry about the glasses thing, I haven't got that stuff. When the government announced there was going to be a distinction between essential jobs and non-essential jobs, I just happened to be in the room with Mum watching the TV when that came on, and her ears pricked up. These people over here. And she says, "I'd like that job. I'd be good at that." She said, "I've been waiting my whole life to do that." She had not much tolerance for non-essential jobs, and she said that she would say, "Yes, we need you, the farmers, the builders, the sawmillers, the health workers, the teachers, the rubbish collectors. You guys, not so necessary. Go back to the drawing board and find something useful for the world to do." Hard to argue, you know. Deep down, she was probably right again. A wee while ago, I was talking with Mum, and I asked her why she thought she was able to become a champion Highland dancer and what set her apart. She had a think, not much to think, I might add, and replied, "Well, I was very exact, I didn't make mistakes, and I had the perfect body." And we both had a laugh about it, and she explained what she meant by that statement. Not boasting, no false modesty, just a simple fact. She did tell me, and I'm sure she told many of you here today, that in fact she was the best person she knew. A few weeks later, Liz and I were sitting with Mum watching some home movies, which this movie was a movie which Dad had taken in Scotland in 1960 at the Highland Games, and we were watching a fling competition. Sets of 4 women and men came onto the stage, did their fling and moved off again. They were completely unknown to Liz and I, and probably Mum. And then another set of 4 walked on, and there was a tiny wee little one there, a little pocket rocket. And she stood in the middle, and she marched on, feet in first, arms akimbo, bowed, and then smiled. And Liz and I are like, "Well, I don't know who she is, but she's one." And Mum said, "That's me." And we had a closer look, and indeed it was. And I got to say, she was perfect. Absolutely perfect. In any of Mum's endeavours, she did not hold back. She gave it her full attention and encouraged us to do the same. She was not afraid of hard work. She was dedicated, disciplined, and resilient. If you're going to bother to do something, do it well. Try and get it right the first time, and if you don't give up. Have a bit of a think, and then have another go. Great advice. I would like at this time to acknowledge my sister Liz and brother-in-law Greg for welcoming Mum into their Blenheim community. You guys cared for Mum with patience, compassion, humour, and a fierce loyalty. Hats off. I know it wasn't always easy, but it was love in its most generous form, and I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Possibly going to get in trouble for this next one, but I would also like to thank Auntie Raylene. Thank you, Auntie Ray. You were there for us with Dad, and you were there for us with Mum. We thank you for your love and support, guiding us through some pretty tough waters.
It was my privilege.
I knew you'd say that. I promised Mum I wouldn't bleat on for too long. I was to be honest and cheerful, and try not to make anyone cry. Oh, and please wear some tartan. That was the final request. So I thought I would share with you 2 things from Mum's rules for living. Firstly, there are only 2 moods, good and better. Which one will it be? And my personal favourite, never, under any circumstances, turn down an ice cream. Mum loved Pam ears, but I'm not going to recite her favourite. I wish I looked after me teeth. Probably not appropriate for today, but I'm just going to give you a tiny wee little one of Pam's. You should dance while you are able. Do the can-can on the table. Grab each chance that flashes past, for life goes by so deadly fast. I'm about to sabotage myself now, but here goes. Mum, you were and always will be my true north. You were an extraordinary human, courageous to the end. You left nothing in the tank, you gave us everything you had. You're a mother like no other. I loved you and I will always miss you. We were the lucky ones.
Unfair one to follow. I'll do my best. Hi everyone, I'm Mirren. I'd like to firstly apologise about my accent. I grew up in Australia. But regardless of that, I am Helen's granddaughter. And I would like to speak on behalf of all of her grandkids today and share a little bit of what it was like to be one of her grandchildren. Thanks. So when Dad asked me if I'd like to give a speech today, I wasn't really sure at first how I could possibly put into words what it was like to be her grandchild. So just bear with me as I try and describe it to you all. When I think back of our memories to Tuatapere, they come with great fondness. They were always a highlight of every school holidays. And as I spoke with my cousins, I realised that Nana had a good plan, and every time we came, they ran exactly as she wanted. Our trips to Tuatapere all followed a similar script. We would arrive at the top of McVicker Street, and Nana would be outside on the porch, and her face would light up with the most beautiful smile when you arrived, and she would give you a nice soft hug and say, "Oh, look who we have here." Then you would be straight into the dollhouse or onto the swing, or Nana would take you inside and show you a piece of artwork that maybe one of her dozen children had made for her, and she would show you with such pride. Or some days she would take you down to the shop, and you got to be the special kid that would go behind the counter or in the back kitchen, and she would let you have a milkshake, or she would sneak you a marshmallow. Spending a day at the shop with Nana was so fun because you could play with all the toys that she'd collected and look at all the marvellous things that she had collated there. And then she would also tell every customer that came in that you were her grandchild, and she would tell them all with such pride that you'd come to visit her. At the end of the day, you could pick out an ice cream to take back with you after dinner, because there was always room for ice cream with Nana. And in the afternoons, we could head to the hall for some dancing, and she would tell you to stand up straighter, hold your chin higher, And for me, she would always tell me I would have made a good wee dancer if I'd kept practicing. And my favourite part was at night, when we would sit in the lounge with our mince and peas for dinner, no elbows on the table and no scraping our cutlery. The TV would be on, Grandad would be in his chair, playing on his chanter, Nana on her chair, reading the paper. The fire would be behind you and be all cosy and warm. Then at night you'd get tucked in on the pull-out couch amongst all the dolls on there, and Nana would say, "Night-night, don't let the bed bugs bite." In the morning, I'd always have banana on toast while Grandad was reading the paper with his black coffee, and Nana would potter about the kitchen, probably prepping our lunch, which was mouse traps, and making her famous Belgian biscuits. And then she would give you the scraps, and you could go next door and feed the deer. Of course, the saddest part of the trip was always leaving, and Nana and Grandad would stand at the end of the driveway and wave you off until the car was well out of sight. And all these things made her an amazing Nana that made us our Nana. We were so special, and you always knew you were so loved. But to be Nana's grandchild came with very high expectations. She made those expectations feel so achievable because she just made us feel so special. She inspired us all and gave us all drive to succeed. I remember when I was 14, I was asked what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I can't remember what I said, but Nana turned to me and she said she would like a doctor in the family. It was very direct, and I've never forgotten it. And I'm very proud to say that at the end of the year, I will have finished my PhD and I will be a doctor. Perhaps not the medical doctor that she had envisaged, but it is as close as I could get. And it's because of Nana that I am where I am today. When it all felt too hard and I didn't want to keep going, I did, because I knew Nana would be proud. And I think of her every step of the way, because why can't I do it if I'm her granddaughter? Because she inspired me so much, and all I want to do is make her proud. I will always aspire to be a woman like her, so strong, so independent. She did this for all her grandchildren, inspired us to be our best, aim higher, and stand up straighter. Our Nana was strong, independent, very stoic, and some may say stubborn. But she was also so kind, open-minded, caring, witty, and so loving. She has given that to all her grandchildren, and it is an absolute privilege to be the grandchildren of Helen and Val McKay. We will forever miss you, Nana, and I hope that we can make you proud, because we are so proud to be your grandchildren.
For those that don't know this young lady here, this is Mum's great-granddaughter, Amy, and she's got a little poem. Lucy, sorry. It's only one generation now, I'll get over
For my great Nana, if ever there is tomorrow when we're not together, there is something you must always remember. You're braver than you believe, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. But the most important thing is, even if we're apart, I'll always be with you.
That was very well done, Lucy. Very, very well done. It's not easy to come up and speak here in front of a whole bunch of people. So we're going to go towards Helen's teaching now. Where to start? A natural progression from her own success in Highland dancing, Helen moved into teaching. As we heard from Raylene, it was her mother Mary who first arranged for Helen to come to Tuatapere to teach. What began as an opportunity grew into a lifelong commitment, supporting generations of dancers in this community and beyond. Helen herself said of her teaching that in the early years she was a little bit too focused on results. And the longer she taught, Helen's lesson became far more about the dance, the way they were for everyone and anyone. They were about showing up, growing up, doing your best, and having fun. Still holding your head high, standing the right way. But Helen was more than a teacher. She was a mentor and a constant source of encouragement. I was talking with a good friend of Helen's yesterday, who has known her for many, many years, even back when she used to ride on the bus from Bluff. And she was telling me that when Helen went to Scotland, she told them in Scotland that they were doing the Highland Fling wrong, as only Mrs. McKay could do. Or it probably would have been Miss Hughes back then. So I have a letter here from Jackie McBride. And Jackie McBride is the president of the New Zealand Academy of Highland and National Dancing. A few years after qualifying as a senior member of the Academy introduced step dancing examinations. Helen sat her step dancing exams in September of 1985. Helen sat and passed 4 examinations in one session. The Irish exam stages 1 and 2, and the Sailor's Hornpipe exam stages 1 and 2. This would be unheard of now, to sit and pass so many exams in one sitting. The continued interest and success of Highland dancing in the Tuatapere community is a testament to the dedication and generosity of Helen and her family. Helen has touched the lives of many families, always positive with words of encouragement. I know how delighted Helen was to travel to Dunedin to watch her grandchildren when they were competing. Personally, I have very fond memories of spending time with Helen when I have been judging in Tuatapere. It was always a pleasure to spend time on the Friday evening before the competition with Helen, talking all things dance, and to see Helen's pleasure and pride at the running of such a successful competition. Highland dancing communities are richer because of the generosity of our members. Helen was so passionate about the Highland dancing and dedicated many hours, in fact, many years of her life, to imparting her knowledge and skills to help with the youth of her community. To the family and friends of Helen, I extend our sincere sympathy. At this time, I'd like to ask Robin Harris, Terry McCracken, and any others from the dance community who wish to speak. Please come forward.
Hi, I'm Robin Harris. I had a lot to do with Helen and the dancing for many, many years. So I've just got lots of wee stories that Helen was involved with us. And just over 40 years ago, Barbara Marshall and myself had a real dilemma. Margaret Sotheby was teaching her girls the art of Highland dancing. All was going well until her husband Alan got a transfer to Wyndham. Next plan. The wonderful Denise McEwen stepped in and started teaching the girls as well as her daughter Raylene. All was working well at the Tuatapere Hall. Then the McEwen family shifted out of the district. What next for us apart from a lot of travel? We both knew Helen and Val in the wee house on the hill in the Happy Valley. Do we dare ask her? As she and Val at that stage had a very young family of 5. Just busy enough. Between us two, it was decided to ask anyway. A couple of days later, off up the Happy Valley we went. What greeted us was utter chaos in the nicest way. Hello, Helen, we both said. Reply, I know what you're both here for, and the answer is no. I have my hands full here, as you can see. This, as the boys are literally scragging each other, Catherine is dancing around as a princess, and Liz was on Helen's hip. After a lot of small talk, a little more persuasion, she finally said yes, she would teach again. But there was no way she was holding or helping at any office position. Okay, says us two greenies, Barbara will be president and I'll be secretary, and that is how the Highland dancing continued in Tuatapere. I think it was sort of like brute force. At this point, we had the minute book and the bank account, which had a not very healthy $28 in it. Heck, what are we going to do here? Didn't know how to run a competition because we hadn't been to any. Oh well, let's get started. We need some money fast. First came the Lions tea meetings catering for them, brought in some much needed funds. Secondly, we thought, a recipe book, that'd be a good idea. As country people are all good cooks. So off we went gathering recipes. Lots of dancing mums, their friends, their grannies, and anyone else who would donate a recipe. Believe me, it had some beauties in it. There was only one condition for the recipe book, was that Helen would give us her pikelet recipe. Took a while, and she said she didn't have one, she just made them. But it is in there. I bet many here today have tasted those pikelets. She also helped with the little dancing quotes in the bottom of some of the pages. Ready for titivating the book, Sean Brown did the front cover for us, and actually typing up of the book was done by the senior typing students at Waiau District High School. It was a great community effort who were always right behind us. The book was called Haggis and Hash, and my current copy is in Sydney with Lisa. Book sold out very fast, and we actually had some money in the bank. Funny story. On the way to Winton to get the book printed, Barbara and I were stopped at E. Watson's Corner, if people know that, in Advento. And we were turning left to go to Winton, and by then the Advento policeman, Tony Vincent. It was around 9 a.m. and we had to pull over and have a chat. Down comes my car window and he asked where we were off to at this hour. Told him our excitement. Then he asked if we'd been drinking. No, quite horrified. We're at the stage, then he tells us that the turning wheel had changed overnight. And were we aware of it, and that we should have given way to him? Left us smiling and updated on the road rule. This recipe book was proving to be very exciting. From here, our fundraising included a census gathering from Pukamari to Oropoki and selling unfilled sponges from the Winton Bakery. These were both very good fundraisers for the group. The local businesses at the time and clubs were very supportive of the Highland Dancing Group, and the size of it just kept growing. The local Lions Club purchased 2 sets of swords for the group to use for practice and at their annual competitions and sport days. Very persuaded by Helen, who is now getting quite involved. Helen would take on anyone who wanted to learn, and the more we performed at concerts, competitions, the more wanted to have a go. She always said the dancing taught the pupils many things: music, self-confidence, and keeping the mind occupied while learning the many different forms of dance and exams. She has had quite a few go through to the New Zealand Academy judges, and this in itself is a credit to the teacher and the pupil, as it involves many years of hard work. There was always a bus on New Year's Eve that went around the elderly, and Dr. Elder, who was our patron for many years. They loved it, as did the dancers and the pipe band members. Next day was always hard work for everyone, as it was the New Year's Day sports meeting. The stage permanently there is in honour of Helen's tireless work for the Highland dancing. A bus was always organised by Grandma Walker to bring the townies out to the comps. They were exhausted at a long journey out, and we always had to have food and drink ready for them by 7:30 in the morning. It was great to have them, but they probably didn't realise we did that trip many times in a year. It was always a big day out at our local annual competitions as raffles were organised. These were well supported by our dancing mums of the time and our ever faithful Lila Sheriff and Jean Erskine in the kitchen. After every annual comp, we would end up at the Waiau Hotel for a meal and a wind down. And boy, was there some great dancing there. Neil Baxter and Siobhan O'Donnell were our judges one year, and Helen challenged Neil that she could make a bigger circle than he could in the opening of the Sailor's Hornpipe. And she was not a spring chicken then. Never mind, the chairs and tables were flying and were taken out of place, and he had to concede defeat. At our first dancing comps held when Barbara and I were involved was certainly an eye-opener for us both. With plenty of help from those who knew, and Helen, yes Helen, we got through it with a few hiccups. Helen always had to check her pupils before they danced. Kilt straight, hat sitting level, was yanked around. Prickles under your chin now, and some good toes, please. This means to point them as hard as you can. She spoke, they listened, and she danced every move with them on stage. Many times we had over 100 entries, and she would still be sitting in the front seat dancing along with them. Many times she would call Lisa over and say, "How about the new steps you just come up with while watching some? What did you think of it?" She loved creating steps. Mightn't have been legal, but she loved creating them. Also a great love of costumes. Many a time she would arrive at dancing practice with bags of cut-out costumes, but she didn't have time to sew. "You two will sew them, please, and we'll use them on the streets this coming Sunday in Tiana." This was Wednesday. Boy, we had some fun on the Tiana trips. For some of our dancers, it was a big event as they didn't really compete but loved dancing. I remember one such trip. We had travelled to Tiana, and of course everyone needed the essential toilet stop as we entered Tiana. Bus stops at the visitor centre toilets, as other buses were there too. Next minute, a lot of Asian tourists came running out, screaming of the toilets, as I think they thought they'd been taken over by some weird people in kilts and assortments of outfits. I can remember Helen and Julia Adams rolling around laughing for quite a while. Helen travelled with some of us to competitions, and if staying overnight or a week, she would still only travel with her very small Mr. Bean suitcase. It was. She had everything she needed, always looked very presentable. We always laughed as we had a normal case with extra cases for dancing gear. After travelling to Oamaru, we came back and learned a skipping rope dance. This can be very entertaining depending on what music you choose. We had a heap of fun, and it turned out it helped the dancers in their fitness. Many trophies were won by Helen's Tuatapere Highland dancers for skipping. One little funny from the New Zealand champs, which were being held in Invercargill, Tuatapere decided to enter the entertainment section. Most do dancing troupes, which is quite spectacular, but not us. We decided to have 3 skipping in the back and act out the song "My Old Man's the Dustman." Roy was the dustman. Amanda Sanford, she was in the bin with a long neck geese and lots of other things that you need for that song, who popped out at the appropriate time. 3 skipping dancers in the back. Helen was supposed to be the old woman who the dustman missed her bin, but no, during the Veterans Irish Hornpipe, nearly at the end she went down in a heap and had done something to her calf. Off to the hospital. While we waited and she's lying prone on the bed, and out of her black handbag came a hairnet with some rollers in it, a skirt, and a wraparound something, and a pair of high-heeled shoes. "What is this?" said me. "Well, I can't do it now, so you'll have to." I think it was a set-up, really. After recovering from the shock, got back just in time to perform our act. To say the least, it was hilarious, and the audience and judges were in stitches. It took Marlene McKay a long time to recover from laughing. Helen, sitting in the best seat in the house with her cut crutches, was really proud. The skipping was great, so we were still showcasing our skills. Yes, we can say we won a gold medal at the New Zealand comps. Rue and I both got one, so mine went to Helen. Lisa and Sarah's memories of Helen are of a wonderful teacher and her singing to the dancers as they practiced, especially the Irish jig. Da 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 da. And on it went. Lisa said she stood at the sink and she could hear the singing in her head. Helen, you have helped so many families with your love of dance and introduced us to many other dancing families throughout New Zealand and the world. Roy and I were very lucky to visit Helen in Blenheim about 18 months ago at her new abode. It was absolutely beautiful. Well done, girls. Brent, where are you?
What are you?
She did not enjoy your puzzle escapade.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's standard.
Helen, you have helped so many families with your love of dance and introduced us to so many other dancing families. It's now time for you to rest and maybe teach a few more Highland flings and Irish jigs up there. A wee quote. A great teacher inspires, and your passion for Highland dance will continue to inspire generations of dancers. Keep dancing amongst the angels. We know you will never skip a step. Thanks, Helen.
You want me to drop it? My mother told me I had to. This thing is terrifying. My mother told me I had to make sure the microphone was at my face so she could hear me clearly. For those that might not know me, my name is Terry McCracken. I was lucky enough to be a student of both Helen and Val when I was younger, and I am now the current Highland dancing teacher in Tuatapere. And when John said the words lifelong commitment, I was very terrified. Like many second-born children in Tuatapere, I was taken along to Highland dancing at the age of 5. I danced with Helen as my teacher until I was 17, and during those years, Helen was not only my teacher, but an adoptive grandmother. I spent many days after school at her home when my parents couldn't run me back and forth from the farm, and I remember so clearly running around her garden and playing in the playhouse, which she was so proud of. I recall many afternoons spent at the shop when she couldn't get away to take lessons. Instead, she would simply keep the shop open and hold the lessons in the dining room, and we would use the benches as a bar. We would use the numerous decorations on the walls to encourage us to keep our head chins up. Many times after the lesson, I would then be enlisted to help in the kitchen or cleaning up the shop. When I was older, I was lucky enough to be tasked with teaching her how to use her fancy new coffee machine, which was an absolute failure, of course, because she already knew how to do it. At 12 years old, I took up the chanter, mostly because I saw Vaughan do it and thought girls can do that too. Val was my tutor, and the afternoons spent at the house increased. There was always, "Have you been practicing?" from both. And when you use the other as an excuse, you can imagine the response. Val's tutorage was so popular at the time. We had numbers to have an entire youth band for Waiau, and we would go to plenty of competitions. In hindsight, I think my distaste for whiskey probably comes from being encouraged to have a wee nip before a street march. Helen's passion for dance and her students was so obvious to all. She would give her any spare time she had to us if we asked. I recall leading into the National Dancing Championships in Invercargill as a teenager, I had to practice every single day in the many weeks leading up to the competition. She would always say, "Nothing gets you fit for Highland dancing like Highland dancing," while waving her feather duster at you in a threatening manner. A few years ago, I was asked to take over teaching Highland dancing in Tuatapere. I was hesitant. which now seems to be a theme here. The school has been going for over 60 years, was used to sway me to join. Helen had taught the majority of those years. You can imagine the number of students that had passed through. I took on the task, and boy, has it been a learning curve. I have a new appreciation for her time, her dedication, and even the little things she used to say to me. Her disappointment at the dancers arriving at practice with a new injury from sports, putting their exams in peril. The excitement at the side of the stage, seeing the little wee ones dance their hearts out, saying, "Have you been practicing?" over and over and hoping it would cement into their minds. I'm looking at you girls. I understand the joy of teaching, learning their personalities, their strengths, their weaknesses, the achievement of nailing that tricky step, seeing them return from a competition absolutely buzzing with excitement, eagerly presenting their reports. I catch myself repeating things taught to me by Helen, her mannerisms, her sayings. I now understand looking up at the students instead of down at them as they grow into adults. I now see the reason for the feather duster. I just have a wee story that popped in my mind after I wrote this. When Helen was last down at Tuatapere, I was absolutely mortified because she crashed a dancing lesson I had. And I remember going to the girls, "Behave." And she sat there silently for the whole thing with a big grin on her face. She then attended the competitions we were having that weekend, and I sat with her at the front, and she just beamed the whole time. I was then given an impossible task when she was presenting an award on stage that I was not to let her out of an arm's distance, and you can imagine she just took off on stage. She strutted out there, no problems, and then I had to kind of grab her. She didn't look at me very nicely. Helen and Val had such an influence on us all. How lucky were we as a community to have people so passionate about their craft, so renowned that Tuatapere is known for being deeply connected to our Scottish heritage, an influence that I hope to continue long into the future. It took a while to decide how to finish what we're saying today. What can you say about two people who had such an impact on your life? But I think it's simply best to say thank you for your time, your dedication, and your unwavering support, for always going above and beyond for us all. We will miss you deeply. Thank you.
Was there anybody else from the dance community that wanted to come and say a couple of words? If not, of course, you can come and chat to the family at the cup of tea. So, community. Alongside supporting Val's many business and piping ventures, Helen very much had an entrepreneurial mind and a presence of her own. Early years saw Helen involved in organising and volunteering at community events such as market days, concerts, the New Year's Day sports. Helen was also secretary of both Tuatapere Primary School and Waiau College management committees. Robin Harris, very good. You talked her in from that no to look at this. Well done. In 1987, Tuatapere was home to a sustainable native logging operation with around 75 forestry cadets living at the local forestry camp. The only native managed logging site in New Zealand at the time. That same year, the government brought native logging to an abrupt halt nationwide. The impact on Western Southland was immediate and profound, with the loss of many local jobs and livelihoods. Out of this challenge, the Tuatapere Resource Centre was formed, with Helen leading as a volunteer president, a role that she held for 15 years. During that time, the Resource Centre team worked tirelessly to find ways to sustain employment and keep families in the community. They explored possible avenues, leaving no stone unturned. From aquaculture ventures like abalone to kit-set housing to local initiatives such as the Humpbridge Track, the Bushman's Museum, Green Dollar Exchanges, the craft shop, and ideas were many, and the effort was relentless. But Tuatapere's geographical isolation made many of these ventures difficult to sustain. Logistics, transport, and distance often stood in the way. Despite these challenges, Helen never wavered. She was practical, determined, and deeply committed to her community, always looking for solutions. Helen's contributions did not go unrecognised. In 2013, Helen was awarded the Queen's Service Medal, a fitting acknowledgement of her decades of service, passion, and influence to dance and the community. And I would say the Helen McKay that I knew would not want all of that fuss. She would have been very, very embarrassed, and I would have been doing what I loved. So Liz, I'd ask you to come forward at this time.
Okay. Wow. I'm going to have to do the glasses thing as well. Are we right? Thumbs up. Thank you, everybody, for coming along and sharing in our celebration of Mum today. Growing up in our family felt like we were living on the movie set of Little House on the Prairie. The little house on the hill, the wide open fields, the troop of ragamuffin kids, barefoot chaos, which I think Robin perhaps found, skinned knees, Brent, pulled ears,
No, leave me out of it.
cats and kittens, dogs and puppies, budgies, canaries, goats, lambs, cows, calves, and a horse. Eeling adventures at midnight, bull rush in the dark, condensed milk out of the can, a hut for the boys, and a pretty bedroom for Catherine and I. We were given the gift of a childhood of freedom and of belonging in a pioneering community like no other to come again. And at the heart of all of that magic was Mum. Mum loved the great big, messy, noisy chaos of a home in a community that was packed full of life. She welcomed everyone, and she would say, "There is a place for everything and everyone in this world if you let there be." And if you were ever unsure of what that place was at any time, well, you could be sure she'd help you out with figuring that out as well. And today, we share with you one of New Zealand's most beautiful songs that carries Mum's story. The story that there is a place for everything and everyone in this world, if you let there be. Tō Kariana. And we would love it, if you can, to join us. I believe we've got some lyrics coming your way.
I could just see Helen sitting in the front row here, slightly skew off on her chair, legs folded, hands clasped, clapping along and nodding, beaming from ear to ear with pride. So the Yesteryears Museum and Cafe. After Helen and Val retired from the farm, they enjoyed many overseas trips with their shared love of dancing and piping. This interest took them around the world, and they got to revisit and relive their early years, and Helen started on a new project. It was a bit of a relief to the family that finally Helen's years of collecting made sense. She wasn't mad, she had a plan all along. And the natural combination of Helen's collection of kitchenware and her love of good food result in the 2006 the opening of her business and community hub, the Yesteryears Museum and Cafe. This was a fun phase of Helen's life, and she embraced it. Helen loved the locals coming through to grab a bite or a chat, and she loved the girls that she worked alongside, enjoying their comradeship and lively fun. Val was never too far away, but his responsibilities in the cafe were managed carefully. His permitted tasks were balancing the till, sweeping the floor, fixing the coffee machine, carving the meat, and navigating the computer. He was deemed to be good at these, and I got to help Val from time to time with the computer and telephone stuff. Payment was always lovely baking. Helen loved the interaction with the international tourists and the older Aussies and Kiwis that came through. This generation took great pleasure in recognising the items from their own childhood, resulting in many happily shared memories and yarns in the day. So at this point, I'd like to ask Dale Edgerton to come forward to speak, please. And after Dale has spoken, those of you that want to get up and just say a few brief words, please feel free to do so. Let's go this way.
Waiau. I'm Dale, and I had the pleasure of working with Helen for 9 years at the cafe, and I've put all the bits that I enjoyed the most about the cafe, and I've wrote a poem. For Helen, in a warm, busy kitchen where laughter would rise, with flour-dusted hands and kind knowing eyes, Helen stood steady in heart, in the craft guiding us gently with humour and laughs. From scratch was a way, no shortcuts, no fuss. She showed us the care and the work she gave us. Jams on the stove, slowly bubbling away, pickles and relish made day after day. Cakes on the bench, biscuits lined up with pride, and all those pies she never denied. Each recipe carried her quiet, strong grace, and love filled the room in that well-worn space. Her recipes too, never fancy or grand, just cardboard and ink in a well-practiced hand, stained with stories of all that she made, notes in the margin that never would fade. The walls told stories wherever you look, old kitchen utensils hung hook after hook, treasures collected for years gone by, each with a memory money couldn't buy. And lining the shelves in their own special way were teapots collected through many a day, 262, each with its place, adding charm and warmth to that welcoming space. At Christmas the rush, but the joy all the same, the kitchen was alive, never quite tame, and there would be Val with a smile and a joke, washing the dishes, carving the ham, such a handy bloke. Those moments we shared, simple and true, meant more now than we ever quite knew, for Helen gave more than just food on a plate. She gave us her time, her warmth and her faith. So we'll remember her there, where she shone brightest still, in the heart of the kitchen, with kindness and skill. And though she has left us, her love will remain in every shared meal, in each memory again.
Well done, Dale. Well done. Was there anybody else that wanted to come up and say a few words?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it would be improper for an occasion like this to go by without making representation of the Helen that I knew that went beyond Tuatapere and beyond Western South. My name's Edwin Lewis, and in the late 1980s, the councils of Southlands, the Invercargill City Council, Southland and Moss counties, put together a budget for the promotion of the southern region. I was appointed the first chief executive of that role, and the day after I was appointed, I was interviewed by the Southland Times, and I made a comment in the news item that I would really welcome ideas from the community to help push the promotion of the region. At 10 o'clock the following morning, into my office marched one Helen McKay. Helen had two representatives of the local promotion group with her, and I was absolutely taken that behind that smiling face we see there was a person with fortitude and drive, and I was very impressed. One of the big promotions, I'm fast forwarding this, one of the big promotions we did, that New Zealand Rail gave us a diesel engine and 10 old refrigerated wagons, which myself and some of the other promotions executives got painted up to promote the southern area in the North Island. This train was taken to Wellington and assembled in the Wellington rail yards, and all the staff and everyone who wanted to take part was to turn up on a set time. And we turned up and we had the Southland promotion there, and on the morning that the train was due to go, in arrives Helen with two of the representatives from the promotion group. She was absolutely laden with packages, parcels, promotion gear, and a whole lot of sweets from Southland. And I thought, good on you, Helen, this is just great, raw Southland stuff. So around the North Island we met with these promotions, and Helen really pushed the South. Tuatapere was on the map, there was no question about that. And I really was so impressed. Helen supported me in my role. I'm a Dr. Elder old boy. I was born here, never went too far away, but I had two occasions to rub shoulders with Helen, and that was one, and the second was just a little over 2 years ago. I had the privilege of chairing the Dr. Elder Book Committee to help put the Dr. Elder Book together, and up comes Helen again. Man, she had some support. I had a lot of information, and I just once again thought to myself, wow, what a lady. So I'm just going to leave you with a thought that I had about Helen. Everyone, every community needs a Helen McKay.
Wonderful. So those of you that haven't had a chance to come up and speak, please remember to make yourself known to the family after at the cup of tea, and they would love to share those memories with you. So after Val passed away, Helen required more family support, and she moved to Blenheim to be closer to family. Elizabeth and Greg, where she enjoyed a couple of years at the Redwood Retirement Village. In true Helen style, she approached this change with both pragmatism and opportunity. She made many lovely friends in her new community, and together they were regular attendees to concerts, festivals, daily news discussions, daily exercise workouts, van outings, Friday happy hour, where she still enjoyed a cup of pearl tea. She even taught her last pupil, Maddie, one of the nurses who lapped up learning the Highland Fling. Redwood was a special place and a close-knit and caring community that treasured Helen and the many friends that she had made there. So just a little note that I put together for Helen. Helen, as we share this moment together, it is with love and unity that we acknowledge what you have brought to each of the lives here today, and therefore what is now missing in your physical absence. There can be no doubt that there have been many tears shed and many hearts broken, but we also know that an energy as beautiful and vibrant as yours cannot help but remain in the hearts of all those who love you. And it will be this that drives us on until the time comes for us to meet once more. So until that day, Helen, your ability to shine in the darkest of moments shall continue to light our way as we laugh, love, and live with every ounce of our being in your memory. The energy of your life we promise to embrace as we simply say thank you and farewell. So at this time, Brent is going to come up. I think Raylene is going to give a Celtic blessing, and Lewis is also going to perform for us. So I ask you all to come. Yes, sir, you can do that.
Water only?
Well, it could be a McKay tradition here. So after, we have Brent sing, and I think Raylene's going to give the Celtic blessing, and Lewis, that will conclude today's service, and the family warmly invite you to share memories with them.
Did you turn that thing on?
Yes.
Good man.
Liz said you have to.
Just
okay.
bring it here if you don't.
Oh, I'll do that. Yeah. Well, I'd like to thank both of my sisters for tricking me into doing this. I was not going to do it, but they got quite cunning and creative. So yeah, thank you, ladies. The other thing I'd like to do is thank you both for looking after Mum towards the finish there. Great job, well done. So cool. But there's something in the air in here. It's making my little eyes water. It's funny, yeah. But I should be okay. This song I'm going to sing was sung at Mum and Dad's wedding all of those years ago. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to do the original because it's too bloody tricky. Thank you, girls. So I've adapted it a fraction to suit the occasion. So it's a bit modernised, so I hope you like it, eh? It's a poem by Robert Burns turned into a song called My Love's Like a Red, Red Rose. I'm not sure how good it's going to be, as I've done no practice. And I guess we'll find out, won't we? Oh, shivers. It's quite daunting, isn't it not? Yeah. Woo. I'll just see if I can get this right.
You can do it, Bree.
I can do it. My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My heart is like a melody that sweetly plays its tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee still, my dear, till all the seas gang dry. Till all the seas gang dry, my dear, and the rocks melt with the sun, and I will love thee still, my dear, while the sands of life shall run. So fare thee well, my bonny lass, oh fare thee well a while, and I will come again, my dear, though 'twere 10,000 miles. Though 'twere 10,000 mile, my dear, though 'twere 10,000 mile, and I will love thee still, my dear, though 'twere 10,000 mile. My love is like a red, red rose that's newly sprung in June. My heart is like a melody that sweetly plays its tune. As fair art thou, my bonny lass, so deep in love am I, and I will love thee Gang dry. Thank you, Mum. I love you to bits. As you well know. You'll be pleased to know that I kept my clothes on for this one. I will meet you at the pearly gates and we'll all have a drink together up there. It might be a little bit cheaper.
She was quite a producer, wasn't she? Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for how you have made this occasion a tribute to a wonderful sister, a very loving daughter, a wonderful sister, a fantastic mother, and an adored grandmother. Today I have realized anew just how much she has adorned so many lives in this community. And I thank you for holding her dear. And now, Helen, it's time to say goodbye. We love you deeply, and we want for you all the peace and joy that may be coming to you wherever you are, because a force such as yours doesn't just disappear. So, Helen, deep peace of the running wave to you, deep peace of the flowing air to you, deep peace of the quiet earth to you, deep peace of the shining stars to you, deep peace of the infinite peace to you, with our love forever.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that does draw to a conclusion of today's service. On behalf of the McKay family, we want to extend a warm welcome to join them for refreshments just over there, and also to thank you all for coming and showing the family that Mum and Dad were very much a part of this community and very much loved. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Please enjoy the slideshow that's about to come.
Gathered in the quiet light, with stories held in careful hands, a smile, a tear, a soft goodbye, shared among her friends and clan. The cups were filled, the voices low, then laughter found its gentle place for every heart that came to know the kindness written on her face. So She has not gone away. The love she gave, the life she shared, still walks beside us here, in the warmth of those who gathered close and held each other near. The room was full of all she touched, of family, friends, and days gone by. A life like hers is never lost. It moves through every goodbye. Not every tear is only sorrow. Not every farewell means the end. Some lies become the light we borrow again and again and again. So raise a glass and speak her name. Let every memory stay in every story, every smile. She has not gone away. The love she gave, the life she shared, still walks beside us here, in the warmth of those who gathered close and held each other near. Held each other near and remembered her here. There are names we carry softly. There are voices time won't fade. There are hands that shaped a family in the love they freely gave. Helen walked through life with grace, through the ordinary days. In every home, in every heart, she left her gentle ways. Helen, your light is still shining in the ones you loved so well, in the stories around the table, in the memories we tell. will always find its way back home. Loved wife of Val, now resting near, Mother Nana, great Nana too, sister, friend, and steady heart. So many lives were shaped by you. From laughter shared to quiet care, from childhood days to grown-up years, you gave a family roots and wings, and strength through joy and tears. Helen, your light is still shining in the ones you love so well, in the stories around the table, in the memories we tell. Though the road has turned to silence, and we must let you go, the love you planted in this life will always find its way back home. And when the evening settles down and old photographs appear, we'll find you in the smallest things, still close, still loved, still here. Helen, your light is still shining in the ones you loved so well, in the stories round the table, in the memories we tell. Though the road has turned to silence, and we must let you go, the love you planted in this life will always find its way back home. The love you planted